Hey everyone, Bones here. Before we start the show, I've got a quick question. Are you ready to save money and play more games? Then let me introduce you to our sponsor, GameFly. GameFly is the best way to buy and rent all of your favorite games. At GameFly.com, you pick your favorite games and have them mailed directly to your door. This is the leading video game rental service with over 9,000 titles to choose from. It lets you try your favorite games and movies before you buy, and you keep the games as long as you want. You'll never have to worry about late fees, and you can cancel anytime. And they now offer movie rentals too. So go to gamefly.com/crucible and start your free premium 30-day trial today. The premium trials allow you to check out 2 games and or movies at a time, and you can only get this offer by visiting gamefly.com/crucible. Now go sign up and start playing all your favorite games absolutely free for 30 days. On with the show. Wait. Can the actual opening bit just be Swain like wandering around looking for people and no one responds?
Very Travolta-esque.
Yeah, just like wondering where anyone is. Literally no one's there. And then Andrew like will do some song that just starts abruptly and just immediately cuts Swain off. And it's just like, show is happening. Or I guess the music has to come in after the ad right now because we just did an ad.
Yeah.
That would be awkward then. Okay, scratch that for a week where we don't have a pre-roll.
The music I'm going to do this week is like got some really, it's like kind of down-tempo, good bed music thing. So could do it. We could just have the intro bit over the music if we wanted to do that.
Yeah, we'll do it on a different week. I'll think about it more. I'll really workshop that one.
Yeah. This intro bit, it sucks. It sucks. So
this is not it,
guys. Bones is gonna workshop a better one, and we will be back with the better one next week. On to the show, I guess.
Let's do it.
I know something's gotta give, and I know that you're not only thinking of him. So why don't I come over? I could sing your favorite song, and I could only hope you sing along. And I know that something's gotta give.
Well, hey there, guys.
Intro. It's the Crucible Radio intro. Hey.
You know, Bonesy, just for you, just because I know you've been feeling a little down, getting left out of the blows. Swain, my man, how's it going?
What the hell?
Oh man, Birds, you made my day.
Yeah, hey, well, I know where my priorities lie, and I know who signs those paychecks.
That was a good joke. It was S tier joke right there. I'm having a great day now. How about you, Bones? He's gone. Birds, how are you?
Oh. Yeah, no, I'm great. Man, I've been healing up. But like you go back to the doctor. I got my stitches out today, and like getting stitches pulled out of your nose.
Sorry, Birds. We can't dedicate 10 minutes at the top. You describing a surgery.
Okay, I'll just say I screamed an F-bomb really loud involuntarily in the middle of Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and I think I freaked out some people in the waiting room, but it hurt. Anyways, it was good. Bonesy, how you doing, man?
Got a drink.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, I just grabbed a LaCroix from the fridge and let you guys chit-chat until you needed me to start the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. Welcome to Crucible Radio.
It's a good thing we don't care about how you're doing. Woo!
Yeah, I don't even care how I'm doing. Nothing is interesting with me this week.
To me IRL for me IRL.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's a good freaking cold beverage. That's my favorite way to drink a beverage is real freaking cold.
Oh, really? See, I was just thinking about this. When I go to a bar and they give me a beer and it's like ice cold, I hate it. You can't drink it. You can only sip it. It's too cold. I want it like my drink served just below room temperature.
But I guess I get it with beer, but I don't drink beer. So like the rule applies to me because I don't drink the one thing where it makes sense to have it sort of like not ice cold. But I get that. I get it.
Good.
Hey, Birds, did you clean out your vault like I asked you?
Yes, I did clean out my vault, and whew, what an experience. Like I can't half-ass it at all and just be like, this roll doesn't look that good. I'll just shard it. Like instead, I would say, okay, Mr. Titan, who's now 400 in Swain, I've got some questions. all right, Mr. Titan, you are doing scout rifles, and just like hop into a patrol, switch 9 scout rifles out of my vault, and just try them all, play with all the perks. And I think what I found was that it was surprising. Like, for example, I did all of my Hawksaw archetype pulse rifles. Had a couple of Hawksaws, a couple of PDX 45s. What was surprising to me was like they all had decent rolls on them. I don't think I had any one god roll, except for that one Hawksaw. But I wanted to be able to just, drop one on each of my characters and say, this is a pretty good one. What I found was my favorite out of all of them is a PDX 45 with perfect balance, small bore, and head seeker. Like, not a super great roll, but with the Suros scope on it that I ended up using, it just felt the most consistent. The groupings were right, like the pull felt right. I could control it really easily. It's surprising stuff like that. And then like in scout rifles, what I learned is that you could have a decent roll, but if you have a not like the others with a reflex scope on it, doesn't matter what role it has, it's going to be better than your other scout. It's better than that Angel's Advocate with the God roll on it. It's so much smoother. Here's what I found out about scout rifles is that Tuonela is the best scout rifle.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it was like the amount of... Well, it's more squirt, 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 but
it's a very Michael Scott. Let's not sound.
Let's not say that.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting like rolls on Cryptic Dragons and Saturnian Rapiers and like these guns that are like fun year 1 stuff that or year 2, whatever. They're like sort of the traditional Crucible style weapons. And they just don't feel right. I don't know if it's psychological, but they feel like they have so much kick on them. And the Tuonela is it's so much more stable. It's so much more precise. The one surprise for me in the scout rifle world was the real surprise contender in the Mida archetype, which there aren't that many of. I got a Distant Star with, I think it's got, Hidden Hand on it. And oh my God, it feels so good. Hidden Hand and Brace Frame, like it was just so effective. So after I kind of like tried stuff out in patrol and got rid of the obvious junk, I'd take it in just to some 6s where I can kind of play around a little bit and sort of work the distance. And I found out all new things like, oh, this was sort of great when I was shooting a wall or I was shooting dregs. But when you're actually in the heat of combat, like, I don't know, don't trust someone else's opinion on what the best perk is, because the hidden stats on the guns just matter so much, and how they feel when you shoot them matters so much. That was interesting. The other thing I did was I've now got an Eos Luna on every character, and they've got some less than optimal rolls on them, but it's fine. Like they all have rifled barrel and sure shot. They've got that minimum, but I've got one with a Third Eye and Relentless Tracker on it, like not great perks, but it's so much fun. Like it's fun having, my consistent 3-tap hand cannon, but just getting to stay down sights when you're playing 6s and you're just sort of guarding a hallway or something like that. I've got another Eos Luna with Icarus and Outlaw on it and rifled barrel, and you're just hopping around, like you can play the jump shots. Like the god rolls are great, but you don't really know a gun until you've tried to use it and either gone, whoa, that's surprising, or like, I don't care how good on paper this is. It just doesn't feel right when you're using it, or it's just not effective in the Crucible. And yeah, it's pretty clean now. I don't have any non-year 1 weapons that aren't something I would pull out or I need to save for some reason. I've got a couple nostalgia things, but I got one of everything on every character, and I'm happy to use any gun. I can go to my vault and pull out anything that's not at 170 and just feel comfortable using it. And the end result is that I play so many more different weapons because I'm not trying to figure out if something is junk at the same time as I'm trying to figure out what weapon I feel like using. It's great.
I want to talk to you about pulse rifles since you mentioned the PDX 45, because I have had one of those in my vault for a very long time, and I remember it being very good back in the beginning of Taken King. But I really am susceptible to picking the gun with the best stats, and I love the stat comparison and Destiny Item Manager, another great feature. So I look at my Hawksaw and I still have the old vendor with I just call that like the perfect stability pulse rifle because the setup was perfect balance, I think fitted stock or something, and counterbalance. So it was just all stability and it's the smoothest firing gun in the game. But I have this Suros PDX and I remember bringing it out again and going like, that doesn't feel as good. And I just left it in my vault again. I'm looking at these stats and it's like really, really, really making a good argument for itself. So I want to just compare these two guns and get your guys' opinions on what you would probably value in a weapon, because I cannot just resist going with the numbers that are just the higher.
Sure.
So this is the 7 impact archetype. Same with Blind Perdition, which people know I love, but there's maybe very different versions. I love that gun. So we'll just talk about these two. This is kind of hard to talk about just pure numbers in a list on the podcast, but I'll do my best here. So both rate of fire impact is same. PDX has 46 range, Hawksaw 36. So that's a 10-point gain.
Mm-hmm.
But, we know range is tied to a lot of things, and kind of stability can kind of make up for that. Stability is real close. Suros has an 89 and Hawksaw has a 90. So this is that perfect stability gun I'm talking about. And where Hawksaw is different is counterbalance. So we've got that straight vertical up and down recoil thing. And I think that's a real big draw for me, at least on that gun. But PDX is right there, like 1 point difference. Reload is 76 versus 73. But the aim assist, Suros PDX, mine has hidden hand, has 70 aim assist, and the Hawksaw only has 60. And that was the first time where I'm like, that kind of seems nice. Like I kind of want to play with that high aim assist thing. And then the other two, relevant to me, maybe not a lot of people pay attention to this. Suros PDX has one more burst in the mag with 27 versus 24. But the PDX has an equip speed of 71, and the Hawksaw has an equip speed of 89, which is the highest by far. So compared to other pulse rifles in its class, the Blind Perdition has a 71, same as PDX. Outbreak Prime has 60, and Bad Juju has 50. So like those guns are way slower. So really
hold on a sec. This is funny. Can you tell me the roll on that PDX? Because I've got that same Hawksaw, and I think I've got that same PDX. All these numbers match up. What's the roll on it?
I think it's perfect balance, hidden hand, and maybe fitted. I can't tell what that last one is because it has the same emblem, and I don't have my Destiny open in front of me. What is it called? What is it?
It's real close. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit. I think what you're doing right now is interesting, but it ultimately is useless. It's got to be holistic. You got to take the whole thing into account. And all I know is that I was surprised over and over again when I compared what looked good on paper to actually using it. And, if a gun's got high stability, maybe you don't need the range. But if you've ever played a high range PDX that's stable enough, it's different, but it feels good in a different way. And there you kind of don't need the equip speed as much. Whereas if you're sort of doing close range, high stability fighting.
Let me ask you this. This can be for both of you guys. What is, like, for your play style, whatever the most common play style you use may be, what do you value most to, enhance that play style? For me, I value the ability to swap weapons quick.
Because you got to
pretty high. Because if I miss a bolt, or say I'm playing with Queensbreakers and I miss one, or I body them, like I have to be able to pull my primary out very quickly. And sometimes a primary, if it's moving, like it may be the god roll of that primary, but if it's too slow for me, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah, like that's the problem with the perfect palindrome, because it's such a solid primary, but it's just so heavy compared to a lot of other primaries.
So what do you guys prefer?
I really do lean on stability, and really that's why the Hawksaw stayed in my hands and the PDX has been in the vault. But like, I cannot resist good aim assist, and if, like you said, Birds, if there's enough stability, maybe it's a worthy trade. I have to say though that if my Not Like the Others didn't have braced frame, I don't know if I would use it, because I've got a different not like the others with the MD Reflex, and I even had Hidden Hand on it, and it bounced that much more than my other favorite roll, and I was like, I can't do it.
I think the thing for me is how difficult is it to just reliably keep landing headshots? Like, and I don't think it's me. Like, I aim the way I aim. It's the stickiness of the gun and you know, how much aim assist and sort of, you know, what the hitboxes are that you're going up against. That was the magic I found with the Not Like the Others, which is a junk Not Like the Others with MD Reflex just magically seems to hit those headshots. That's why I think on the pulses, I like the high range, because even if I wasn't hitting every shot in the burst, because the kick is pushing it off to the side, it's just easier to hit headshots more often. I had other guns that felt like I had, I dismantled it, but it's the Gunsmith Suro Scout Rifle. I think it was the DIS 43 with a theoretically perfect roll on it. But I felt like I couldn't hit a headshot on it to save my life. And so that's, I think for me, why it's just kind of ineffable. It's just when I'm using it, does it feel like easy mode or hard mode? And I don't quite know how to predict that from the numbers. I can guess, but
there's also perks that change it for me. Like if I get something with Outlaw on it, I'm gonna try it out and I'm gonna see if it meets that requirement for me. Like, is the fact that Outlaw is on it going to hurt this gun? Probably not. And I can probably get away with this hand cannon with Outlaw in place of a better perk because it's got good stats all around.
Oh, see, I love Outlaw. Like there's almost always something better in that slot, but like,
yeah.
And I think that's the thing with some perks is like, if your goal is to have something that is as sticky as possible, as max range as possible at the farthest distance, and like there's usually a clear winner. But there are perks out there like Outlaw, like Take a Knee, like I don't know, even like Quick Draw and things that you wouldn't normally think need Quick Draw that just feel so good or so useful when you're using them. Like I'm not gonna bean someone with a hand cannon across the map, 10 times in a row. But to be able to say in most of my engagements, I'll go to reload and it's lightning fast. Like, I don't know, that just adds up over a match. Like that stuff kind of balances out sometimes.
That's what Mida always feels good because of the reload on it. It's just like, whoop. And it's
ready.
Well,
and that's why I love Distant Star, because I had a bunch of primaries in the Mida archetype and all of them just felt wild and out of control compared to Mida until this particular Distant Star clicked for me because it's so stable.
So this, the basis of this whole conversation is the fact that you should be trying your guns before getting rid of them, because
we've all got so many moats. Just level it up. Just try it.
And we're nearing the end of Destiny 1 at this point. So there's really no point to not try out everything. Maybe there's like a weird gun that you like, you didn't know you liked, just sitting in your vault somewhere. And it harkens back to last week when we talked to them guys. Your rating may be different than someone else's rating. That's going to be a variable, across the entire game. So just try it out. Try your different guns.
I mean, like my favorite example is you find a gun in your vault with Outlaw and reactive reload on it. Like that is a play style gun. Like you have to be like, that's a sixes gun. Maybe not, but I think more so. And you have to be really trying to get that finishing headshot. But when you do, you're that much stronger on the next one. You can chain them together. Really, the question is, this is a great gun for someone. Are you willing to embrace that play style, or does it just not feel right? Because, everyone plays this game in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Not for Bones.
Bones the purist.
All right, so I cleaned a bunch of stuff out of my vault. Feels great. I've got useful things in every slot on every character. I didn't even talk about specials, man. I found some fun fusions in there. But enough about that. Swain, what's going on? What's up in your world?
I love that when I have a topic, Birds is usually the one to throw it to me. And it's always like, so what's going on with you?
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you got something, but you tell me, man. I guess.
We got to work on our transitions. So.
All right, let me try that again.
Don't cut this, Andrew. This is raw.
That's my transition. I'm just waiting for you to jump in and take it for yourself.
Well, I've spent this past week doing lots of things. One of them is reviewing my own gameplay and reviewing others' gameplay. It's a weird new thing for me, and I dig it. In all honesty, I haven't reviewed my gameplay as much as I thought I did before. But one of the aspects that I learned from both gameplays is super usage is huge across different levels of gameplay. And I also watch other people play on Twitch as well. So I kind of get the full spectrum of how people treat their supers. And that goes across all different types of classes: Hunter, Warlock, Titan. And specifically with Rumble around this week, I was like looking at some Rumble gameplay and trying to see like what's going wrong here. Why is it a little bit lopsided? Why is this person waiting to use their super for so long? And someone even asked me in my chat the other day, what do you recommend for this? And I'm like, well, you kind of need to just use your super. That's the basic advice I can give you is just use it. But it goes a little bit further than that. Like some supers are roaming supers, some supers, are guaranteed one shots unless you get into a lucky situation. But one piece of advice I passed along was don't wait too long. Even if you have, say you have a Fist of Havoc and you're, roaming around in Rumble and you're holding on to it, and you're waiting for that perfect double down or maybe even a triple down, and it's not coming. And say you wait and you hold on to your super for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes go by, and you still haven't used it. You've effectively disabled your chance at getting a third super throughout that game.
Mm-hmm.
You are, hamstringing yourself from, creating more super energy and possibly the best way I put it was, say you get 3 supers throughout the game. Your first super nets 1. Your second super nets 1. And maybe your third super nets 3. And that wins you the game. If you were holding on to that second one for so long to get that 1 kill, you never got that third triple down. Know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, I like that. And I think there's another thing you can consider, especially when you're playing sixes and there's a lot of other people. It's okay to use your super to take out one person. Like, it's not ideal, but if, especially if you're playing an objective game mode and that's the kill that keeps the rest of your team alive, if that's the kill that gives 5 other people a big orb and now they all have their supers, I especially with things like with the Titan Smash and with Nova Bomb, I know I'm trying to wait for that perfect moment. Fortunately, it's been Night Stalker that has made me get over my super usage because it's such like a boo-boo super anyways. It's just like, fine, I see some guys, I'm going to try and shoot them with this thing. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a play of the game moment for you. It can just be the thing that you did to help your team, and that's okay.
Yeah, one of the biggest offenders, I will not name this person, but I was looking at the gameplay and they spent almost 2.5 minutes holding on to a bubble. And it was just like, I'm just like screaming, you just use it. Just use it.
It's okay to help your team.
Yeah. Like, please just use this bubble because you could have had another one. Or like, what are you going to do at this point? You need to utilize it the best of your ability and, bait someone into your bubble or treat it. However, the only reason I would see someone waiting is if you want to steal heavy. Like, that's a great usage. And, if heavy's coming in a minute and a half, yeah, maybe hold on to it, save it for that heavy moment. But a lot of times when I'm using my super, I'm like, as soon as I see it, it's full. I'm like, all right, well, now I need to figure out where I want to use it. and when? Am I going to hold on to it a little bit longer, or I'm going to use it right now? What's our situation? Is B captured by the other team? Do we obviously want to take B? So I'm going to push into B and hopefully clear them out of it so that my team that's behind me or spawning behind me, I'll usually be like, all right, I'm going to go try and clear them off of B with my roaming super. So I get in there, do my thing, and hoping that the rest of my team takes the device and pushes in on B and takes it.
I think you could look at grenade usage the same way, especially if you have a perk in your subclass or in your armor that gives you 2 grenades. This is something I picked up from another game with abilities that shall remain nameless. But when you have a powerful ability that doesn't come along that often, I don't know. I find I do so much better when I'm always just checking the timer. How am I doing? Do I have a grenade? Do I have 2 grenades? Okay, I need to start using them. I need to always be building. How can I start this engagement with a grenade? How can I mean, maybe you have, I'm trying to think of a melee that would do it, but like, let's say you're playing Stormcaller with claws and you have 2 charges built up. I mean, that's 1 long range kill right there. And that's just, we talked about this a little while ago, but part of that growth from going to just saying, where are some guys, where can I go to shoot them, to saying, what's on the radar, how are my cooldowns doing, what does my ammo look like? I mean, you could look at special ammo the same way. If you've got, a fusion and 5 rounds in it and you're playing Rumble, use it. Use them all. You might die and lose them all anyways. Don't sit on them. Go mess it up. Go.
Is it true?
Go start building your next one.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
It wasn't always true, but it is now, man. That's the world we're living in.
That's the meta we live in, guys.
Memory of Fellwinter.
Yeah. Moral of the story: please use your supers. I'd appreciate it.
Use your damn supers.
Speaking of using supers, and Swain, this is going to be a primo segue. I'll have you know. Speaking of
We're
using
learning,
supers,
guys.
I am struggling a little bit with the Sunbreaker super. I know you're a big fan of the Sun Charge, and in that usage of it, I do okay. The hardest part I'm trying to get my head wrapped around is, how do you pop this thing? Because people know the sound. Sometimes it seems like it's nice to be in the air so you can like start throwing hammers down, but that's just putting a target on your back.
Do you want advice for popping Sun Charge or hammers? Because there's two different ways of doing it.
Let's do both.
For me, at least. So I obviously main Sun Charge as much as possible because it's my fun. It's my fun. It's why I enjoy this game. But if I am doing more hammers and I am going to do simply be throwing them, I'm always going to pop them behind cover or in an angle that no one can see me from, whether it's high or high above, like high behind cover. It's weird to compare it to like Overwatch, but it is like Pharah. If you're going to be using it, you have to be somewhere that no one's going to have a good angle on you and be able to take you out of it real quick. Or you don't want to be in view of team shots because team shots will, absolutely destroy your super quick.
Yep.
And that's the death of a lot of hammers is the team shot. So for more hammers, yeah, definitely cover or angles that no one can see you, but you have the best view of everybody that you're about to burn to oblivion. Mm-hmm. But for Sun Charge for me is a little different. I treat Sun Charge like I have 5 charges. There is 6, but I almost always use 1 to close a gap or to approach from a weird angle towards people. Simply because that makes their team shot really hard to do. Like they can't team shots a Titan they can't see. It almost feels like Genji's like slash. You can't really team shot him as he's slashing. So you treat it like that. You want to close a gap between you and the group. So you want to pop it behind cover and then close your gap. because they're when you pop it behind cover, they're like, all right, he's going to run out from behind there and start throwing. In most cases, they're not always expecting a sun charge, but you use that first one to close the gap, and then you're in the middle of it. And usually like that close the gap might hit someone, or you're just between the two. And then it's just a matter of figuring out like from your radar or from your observation at first, which direction you want to go in first. You know, do you want to sun charge left from there? You want to sun charge back right? Or, you know, it does have good tracking. So, you know, it depends on how people are reacting to your jumping in. Jumping in and just the thrashing about. But
Interesting.
I do almost always treat it like that first one doesn't exist, and it is a movement situation for me. The other thing with that is like most supers, like Striker, you know, Nova Bomb, and all of them, they get 3 kills max. So if I can get 3 kills off of a Sunbreaker super, I've done pretty well. And if you get 6 sun charges, you can use 3 of them to move about.
That's a good point. This is interesting hearing you talk about it, because I was thinking of hammers, I guess the same way I think of Stormcaller Super. What is this called? Why am I blanking on this? Shaco mode, Chief mode, with Ionic Blink as basically just being like, I'm popping it, and then y'all are in trouble. Like, I'm just gonna be blinking around. You're not gonna be able to get me. I've got crazy range on this thing, and just basically hold it down. I'm coming for you. But really, hearing you describe it, you're kind of describing it like a blade dance. Like,
Sure.
Pop it in cover, get sneaky, use it for mobility, and try and get the drop on them more than just, I'm coming for you.
My favorite thing to do as a Sunbreaker, especially with Sun Charge, is abuse spawns. Like, especially on tight maps where Exodus Blues, I love to think of it like the 7th column map. Like, the spawns on that map funnel, especially in Control, funnel everyone into one direction usually. Or at least one part of the map that you can know everyone will probably be there. And it's a good, like, if you could sneak up on them, it's a guaranteed triple. Unless like someone counters you with another super. It's almost too easy at that point. But knowing your map and knowing how you could sneak up on someone is a very it's a tool for your toolbox that, you know, everyone needs.
I switched to Striker recently because I was doing so bad with the Sun Charge super, so don't hit me.
Yeah. Bones was hating on Sun Charge in the Discord the other day, and I was like, I cried a little bit.
No, it's just like, it's like I was saying with like when I switched to the Golden Gun perk that makes it more accurate. When I realized I hadn't played it in so long and I didn't have that perfect shot down, I was like, well, this is embarrassing. I need the helper perks.
Yeah. And by all means, like, Sun Charge isn't the ideal choice all the time. Is like being able to throw all those hammers is amazing. And I've seen people do ridiculous things with being able to throw them.
This is the ideal Titan super. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
Yeah. But like it's tough. It's tough, like, to be able to, you know, this part of the super, they just throw like 10 hammers. It's going to be great. But the other thing with Sun Charge is don't be afraid to throw them, because you can throw them. Mm-hmm. You're just probably like, a lot of times, like, I'll choose to throw hammers when I've killed one person and I realize, oh, maybe they're a little too fast for me right now and the other people got away. It's potentially just a good scare tactic. You scare them off a point, you scare them away, and you're like, all right, well, me just existing here on the point is good enough for me. It's a super well done.
I would be disappointed for a montage level Swain Sun Charge usage that didn't involve like 3 Sun Charges and then just 1 hammer for the guy who's running away. Like, yeah, keep running. I see you.
Yep.
It's coming for you.
No, I mean, Sun Charge is fun. And the reason it's fun is because, like, the consistency of multiple kills you can get. Whereas like a Striker, it's a lot of ones then the lucky like 4 or 5.
Question: what shader is best for sun charge?
Very good question.
Weldfire.
Wildfire,
Yep.
if you can get it, but birds will never have wildfire.
Have that one. Let me check.
No,
but
you
I
don't.
don't think I have that one.
You don't. There's a Weldfire club in the Crucible Radio secret channels, but it's a very small club.
I have the what one is this? Hold on, pulling up Dim. This is a good podcast.
Tim, help us make a show. What
Not
are these
only
things?
good for cleaning out your vault, it's also good for changing weapons mid-game,
Yeah.
and also being very smart on a podcast. Phosphor.
Phosphor.
Yeah, that's the one I use. It's red. It's very red. I love it.
I still love sunsetting. It looks so good. A little orange chroma. I know it's played out. It was played out for a long time. I fucking use sunsetting.
Carol.
Are you boys wearing the Sunsetter shader?
Hello, fellow kids.
Well, birds, do you have a word from our sponsor this week?
Well, you darn right, Swain. I am very excited to say our sponsor this week is Warby Parker. I have recently admitted to myself that I am going blind. I squinted for so long.
Not only does he have a missing nose, but now
Eyes don't work so good either, except when you wear a pair of glasses that they clear everything up, you can see great. But look, glasses are more than that. Warby Parker is a new concept in eyewear. You should have glasses that are extremely affordable, but they should be fashion forward too. You should be able to wear them as a fashion accessory, but they should not cost as much as a plane ticket or a new iPhone. And Warby Parker is all about that. Just like a shirt you'd wear, some new shoes, a necktie, a hat. They make it easy and affordable to accessorize with glasses. You gotta look good. And it's so easy. Glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. They've got the anti-glare and anti-scratch. Trust me, it's worth it. For every pair you buy, a pair goes to someone in need. And guys, it could not be easier. You go to their site. They've got a curated selection of glasses. You pick 5 of them. They ship them straight to your door. You can try them on in your home. You can try them on with you get a second opinion on them from some friends, take some pictures. You can try them with your favorite jacket and see if they go well together. And you pick the one you like, you try them for 5 days, and you send them back using a free prepaid return shipping label, no obligation to purchase, and it's 100% free. I got a pair of glasses that I went to one of the big stores for, and they've got 300 different pairs of frames, and guess what? They all sucked. It took me forever to find a pair that I liked. To have 5 great choices and to be stuck choosing between 4 that I really like, it's amazing. It's so worth it. If you're wearing glasses, look, it's $95 to upgrade. So head to warbyparker.com/crucible to order your free home try-on. Pick the 5 you like, mail the frames back. They'll plug in your prescription and you're good to go. It's completely risk-free and free shipping all around. It's warbyparker.com/crucible. And hey, check out their app. They make it so easy to take a picture with each of the 5, stitch it together in a quick video, and share it to your friends. Try it out, warbyparker.com/crucible.
Okay, folks, hang on. We've got a musical break coming up, but right
hang
after
on
that,
to your butts.
we're back. It's us talking, but to one of the legends of Destiny. It's been a very long time since he's on the show, and we love sitting down with him and just picking his brain on this game. And we get to look back at a fun, wild, crazy 3 years as well. So,
Birds.
So stay. My voice.
He's breaking.
I'm literally just broke.
He's losing it. Pull it together, man.
Interview next.
Stretch.
There you go.
We go interview. Now.
Interview time.
You've got me thinking it's a long way down, but my feet hardly even left the ground. You've got me high, I feel so high. Though your smile is something I adore, a relationship is something I just can't afford. You've got me high, I feel so high.
music this week from Luke Diamond. That's LukeDiamond.com. Go check him out. And if you're a musician, we'd love to play your music on the show. Just send us an email to crucibleradio@gmail.com. And if you've got some stellar gameplay you'd like to have featured on the video version of our podcast, just send us a link to the YouTube match. No montages, no editing, just the full game to crucibleradioclips@gmail.com.
You've got me thinking it's a long way down, but my feet hardly even left the ground. You've got me high, I feel so high.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's get right into it. The returning champ, he came on, I believe it was episode 7. You came on, and it was such a big deal to have you on the show. And it's a big deal. Thanks for coming back. It's the one, the only Triple Wreck. How you doing, man?
Well, it's hard to believe it's been that long. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's great to be back. I'm glad that you guys have found success and all the things you've done. And it's cool to meet you guys at last year at Destiny Community Con stuff. So yeah, it's exciting.
Definitely. Well, it's been a long time since our listeners have heard you chat with us. In that time, we've gone
I'm
through.
so much better at this game.
That's true. That's true. We've all improved a decent amount. We've gone through multiple sort of versions of this game.
It's been a literal lifetime for the game.
Yeah. Wow. That's kind of crazy to think about. Even though we talked about it so much, it's a very long time. Okay. Well, it's year 3. We have literally all have calendars on our walls and apps on our phone counting down to May 18th and then to September 8th. We are almost through with this. What are you doing right now in the Crucible? What's your favorite setup? What's your play style? What do you think is fun?
Well, it's been a struggle because I started out as pretty much a sniper main for the longest time. So basically, I think I would say for like the vast majority of like the first, for like say 14 months of Destiny, I pretty much was a sniper main. The only times I use a shotgun probably when we were doing like scrims or something, because that's what I enjoyed in other games. So Destiny, having when I first picked up the alpha, I was just like, man, this game just feels great. The sniping's awesome, and the rest of the game was also really fun. But that's just something that kind of grabbed me, and so that's something I've enjoyed a lot. And like as over time, like sniping has gone through some changes, and in my opinion, it's slowed down a lot, and it's just become more difficult if that's your play style. So I've kind of done that less and less, and I've just kind of fallen into the various metas. Right now, funny enough, I guess you would consider, the Icebreaker is kind of like one of the meta weapons. It's like one of the most used specials now.
It's such a terrible sniper rifle too.
But it's an awful gun. I hate it. I've never liked the Icebreaker. It's just so clunky, and the handling's so bad, and everything's so slow already. And now quick draw is essentially gone, and everything that you could try to do to help you out there, it's just not very fun to me. So and most of the time I'll either I actually been using some of the exotic sidearms for kicks, but I probably run like a shoddy, and I was using the Mida quite a bit actually, because I think it was just a few metas ago. I think I was actually running like the Mida and a sidearm and Radiant Dance machines and like max agility, and I was just having a real fun time kind of messing around with that, even though it wasn't really like top tier loadout. But I definitely thought that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, when I would run into like a clever dragon with a high cal, I just there's nothing I could do. I'd switch immediately to something else. But we have a few games here, and that'll be a lot of fun. So
there's certain maps right now that like Mida loadout's really, really fun to play,
for sure,
and enjoyable. We had like a Widow's Court game the other day that was just like me using a Mida and a friend using Talalak, and it was just like yep, we're just never going to let them come near us.
Yeah, I'll admit I've busted out the Tlaloc a few times lately, and it's just man, it's a disgustingly good weapon. and to me, every time I use it, of course, like, you know, when it's got its perk activated when you're supercharged, I'm like, this is closer to what primary should feel like, you know, and that's why I like using it, because I'm like, yes, you can't get away, you know, we're in a primary gunfight, you're dead. And the other guns, I'm just like, you know, looking at my watch while I'm shooting at you, and then you're gone, and I can't get that kill. But yeah, it is kind of refreshing after, you know, we've had a lot of metas where it's just kind of like a certain type of pulse rifle or a certain hand cannon. And it is refreshing in a sense to kind of experiment with some other guns. And I just wish that there was like a greater overall balance. So things were kind of, in a general sense, more viable, and people weren't like feeling like they were forced to use certain weapons, which I think is kind of the situation now. Although you could argue that's been the case for the lifespan of the game in different ways.
Yeah, just like kind of different levels of being forced to use something, kind of.
It's just ebbs and flows, and yeah, just you know, it's never a dull moment when they switch it up. I guess that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny because we're talking about just like the changing of time, the passing of time, and if you could like look back on all the times when that meta kind of shifted, because I remember I talked about it on this show, but the April update when the snipers kind of did change, and it was the one where you go like, well, okay, this might mean something. This feels noticeably different, and it's sort of just kind of foreshadowed a big shift in the meta. And it's so funny to look back and to see like quite a bit of changes like that. You know, even if some of them aren't very drastic, it's there's been a lot.
I think, you know, I'm fairly critical as a whole, but I also like to call out things that are good, because I think it's important to be fair. I see a lot of negativity, and a lot of times I get dragged into it. It's hard when you care about something so much, right? Mm-hmm. And
people want a loud voice to go along with theirs too.
Yeah,
usually,
of course.
So they always look for someone they think would agree or even disagree in some cases.
It's, you know, it's about that lively discussion. But I've come to like a certain point where my stance is I can kind of accept any result at this point with how Destiny 1 has turned out, because it is the first game. And with anything, you're gonna try stuff. Some things are gonna work. Some things are not gonna work. You're going to learn a lot. And I'm just really interested to see what Destiny 2 is going to be like, because I think immediately we're going to be able to tell the kind of direction the game is going to go in, and you know what things they're going to carry forward, which things that they're going to get rid of, and what kind of things they're going to add that are entirely new. And I think that's really exciting for me. And I'm not going to like judge anything right now, like, oh, well, they made this change, that means Destiny 2 is going to be exactly like this, for example, you know, like with the special ammo situation, which I'm currently not a fan of. But then people are like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to cancel my Destiny 2 pre-order because that means Destiny 2 is going to be just like this. Like, no, I would think people are going to be shocked by how different Destiny 2 is. And that's why I think it's very important that the distinction is being made that Destiny 2 is not an expansion. It is a entirely new game, you know, from the ground up. It's a full-fledged sequel. And I think that is very important and probably like the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah, I've been trying to put that into words lately about how when stuff changes now, good or bad, maybe we like it, maybe we don't. Mostly it's because we have so much to compare it to, you know, and like regardless of people's feelings on what the game was like 2 years ago or whatever, it's just it's comparable. So you have that in your head, you know, you have this existing sense of what Destiny feels like. And what I'm hoping and what I'm expecting with a sequel is that we're not comparing it to this other game. You know, we might compare it in big, general, vague concepts, but in terms of like the visceral feeling of what a gun might kind of feel like to play with, we're going to have a different enough thing where we're not going to worry so much about like, you know, they ruined this or now this is the thing. You know, it's just going to be new, and it'll be so nice to just develop new instincts and new feelings like that.
I think that's a great point. And one that I also share, is that it is an entirely new, being. It's its own creature, it's its own beast, and that's like the two times I enjoyed Destiny the most, like just like in a concentrated amount, was when vanilla came out, when it was first launched, and then when Taken King came out, because everything was new. Like I didn't have to worry about having lots of stuff already or having to worry about it. And with Taken King, it was the same thing. Like you're getting green weapons in the first mission that are already more powerful than these exotics that you've been using for months and months.
Even with like Taken King even had its like quote unquote balance issues. Like right out the gate, Sunbreaker was the menace.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was, but people were still thoroughly enjoying Destiny at that point. Like even with all of that, like it can be very enjoyable, but still have its issues.
Yeah, I agree completely. And yeah, it's hard for people that have played the game for so long and to see it change so much, because it just, you become very possessive of whatever you think was at its peak, right? And so then everything that comes after, you are judging it based upon that. Like that's your gold standard. So I'm sure that can be very frustrating for other people who maybe came in later and never got to experience that. So for them, something that's is out now, they think that that's really great, and their opinions are not invalid by any means. But back to what you said, I think that it is very exciting that like we're getting a fresh start. It's a clean slate, and it's also, I guess, in my mind, something that's also important is, again, we're going to see the culmination of years of their data, of their design choices, and really seeing, an entirely new game in a lot of sense. I'm sure it'll be very similar in a lot of ways too. I'm sure it's, we're gonna still have supers. I'm guessing, there's still gonna be shotguns and sniper
Maybe
rifles.
not right away.
Yeah, well, who knows? But I think that those core pillars are gonna remain, but I think they're gonna be very different. And it's just exciting for me to be a fan of something as a franchise and have a base level of faith that they are going to carry those things forward, because they are also very critical of themselves. Like everyone typically is their own worst critic. And I know that people that are creative, people that are involved in film and such, are usually that same way. And, having met, people at Bungie, and you guys have as well, I think that you'll agree with me that they're out there to make the best game possible. Like they want a game that you enjoy. They're not trying to make a game that like people are gonna hate. I know people think that that's what they do, is they sit around in their meetings. They're like, how can we piss off the community today? It's really not the case.
Just a giant whiteboard with things that people hate.
And we've already seen them kind of reverse things that they've done. They remember when they changed special ammo, so it's like, what did you spawn in with nothing, and then I'm trying to remember. It was a while back. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Lasted for maybe a month.
Right. And then people said, we don't like this. So they went back and said, all right, we'll take a look at it again. We'll change this. So I think, that's encouraging to me, that nothing is set in stone. And I just
Definitely
hope they continue that.
I mean, they do such a good job of having kind of a unified face publicly, like, Deej at the front of it, and they have the Twitch reveals, and, the conversation seems pretty consistent, but you kind of get behind the walls and you learn all the different people that are there. And like, there are so many smart people there, and they just argue with each other all day. Like we're out here arguing about the best way to do it. Like they're having the same conversation, and like, somebody wins one week, and then the next balance patch, you see who wins again.
Right.
And good stuff comes out of that. Well, hey, I wanted to ask something. So going from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, one thing that I kind of see helping sort of keep that continuity is not really from Bungie, but what the players are doing. I mean, over these past couple of years, we've really seen a competitive scene grow up, from like pub stomping to sweats and now DCS. What's your thought on that, and what do you kind of expect to see in D2?
It's hard to say for sure, because again, we haven't even seen the first bit of gameplay, let alone what kind of features and modes and
I'm
that
so ready
stuff.
to overreact.
Yeah, I'm ready to analyze everything. But I think we've seen a trend of them wanting to include competitive stuff in Destiny. That's no secret. They started out with the Red Bull Rift event, then they had the MLG exhibition. Of course, they added private matches in Rise of Iron, and I know for a fact that many of people at Bungie watch those tournaments and stuff. Like, they're fans of that competitive play. They really enjoy that. So I'll be shocked if there isn't some kind of ranked mode in Destiny 2, even for the simple fact that it's in many ways become a standard in kind of like modern gaming. Like, any game that has like a PvP mode these days that's by a big company is typically having some kind of league or ranked or something of that nature. And I would say, especially with Overwatch, although it's hard to directly compare that to Destiny, although there are some parallels, what Blizzard's done with that game and kind of fostering that competitive side, I think it's been really great for them. And I'm sure that smart people are analyzing all of that and seeing if that can be applied to Destiny. And I think Destiny is a really fun game to watch and to play. I think even to the average person who knows nothing about Destiny would be able to tune into a live event being shoutcasted and be really entertained just because the gameplay is so unique, right? And if they're able to put in some kind of ranked mode, if it has solid connections to support that, whether that's in the form of dedicated servers or something, and perhaps flesh out the private matches, but closer to what they had with Halo with custom games, I think that would be tremendous.
Who's your favorite Overwatch character?
Favorite Overwatch character?
I gotta know.
I'll be honest, I haven't kept up as much with it lately. I did play a lot when it first came out, and I'll tune into a tournament here and there. But I did play a lot of Genji and I play a lot of McCree. And it's just because they're kind of like opposites in a lot of ways. I mean, they are like DPS, like damage characters, but the classic shooter side of me gravitated toward McCree. But then just that awesome verticality that Genji has is a lot of the same things I enjoyed about like playing Blade Dancer. Back before Blink was murdered. Sad tear.
Yeah, McCree's got that like last word Night Stalker build with the shade step and fanfire.
Yeah, imagine that in Destiny. Oh, the salt.
Okay, so before Destiny 2 comes out, one of the biggest events this year is going to be Guardian Con. And last year, it was in the form of Destiny Con, which was a lot of fun. But what are you looking forward to at Guardian Con this year? What can people look forward to seeing from you?
I don't know what they have planned exactly, although I'm sure that they're still kind of figuring a lot of that out. I do know that they're doing the big tournament, which is gonna. Last I checked, it was like $50,000 will go to the charity of choice for the winners. So that's amazing.
Are you going to be doing some sidelining coaching for that?
Yeah, I'm really not even sure what we're doing. I know that a lot of like our guys are playing Go's. I'm planning going, so I don't know who's going to play. But either way, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really cool event. And having been there last year and just kind of being surprised by the fact that like they ran out this huge space and they had some vendors and they really kind of up the ante over what was essentially just like a meetup that we did at like a restaurant. We got rented out the bar space the year before, and it was like, oh wow, this is like a real thing. But even then, there's like this is going to be so much bigger, and I think people are going to see that this year. That they were talking about, they had like 2 of these like fairground buildings rented out now, so it's like twice as much space, and there's like
2 days
going to be lots. It's 2 days. Lots more vendors and people participating, lots of like more things to do. Because in some sense, last year was essentially just, again, like a huge meetup. But that was great. I think everyone had a good time and they kind of understood that. But my hope is that this year there'll be more stuff for people that are, interested maybe in streaming or Destiny or, what other games they choose to integrate. I heard some rumblings about that. And I just hope it's a fun event for everyone that comes.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
All right. Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't spend some time talking specifically about what's going on in Destiny world right now. You talked a little bit about your loadouts. I actually had a question. I mean, it sounds like you're not really running a sniper that much these days, but when you do, I mean, like the way you use them has to change with the special ammo changes, with just sort of the overall stickiness, and like can't pull off those year one quick shots or drag shots as reliably. Do you have any sort of advice for people who are still trying to be successful with that sniper, kind of how to operate in this world of D1 right now?
It's definitely a challenge. Your best bet is to use Icebreaker. It's just, yes, it's not the best to use, and it's not particularly easy to aim. It just something to me personally feels off about it. I'm sure there's people out there who love it and have great success, but just the simple fact that you don't have to worry about ammo is going to, remove what I find to be one of the most frustrating things about this current meta, is that if you don't have like Icebreaker, or you don't spawn in with a sidearm, your entire mindset is typically thinking about special ammo. Like, where's this crate? When's it spawning up? Can I stay alive until it spawns up, and then hope that I don't run to someone else who has special, or like a roaming super. And it's just, I don't find it to be a particularly fun metagame. However, if you're able to utilize the Icebreaker and, use the good spots in each map, typically for sniping, know what the lanes are, know where people like to go, know the spawns, I think you will have a lot of success. You just can't be too aggressive. That's my problem, is because I still play Destiny like it used to be. And it's just, it's something that's like so hard that I can't break that habit. Like I want to be kind of in the action, regardless of like what loadout I'm using, what class I'm playing. And it gets me killed a lot. But yeah, if you just try to pace yourself and play a little bit more tactically, I think you will have success.
If you had to pick like a subclass from each of the classes, which would you say is like the strongest right now in your opinion?
That's a good question. I suppose it depends, of course, on the game mode, and what like your play style is.
Well, let's do for you.
Okay.
For you, what's your pick for Hunter? What's your pick for threes? What's your pick for sixes? Like competitive threes versus fun sixes.
Yeah, I'd say that Night Stalker in threes is very strong, just because the neutral game is up there. But for sixes, I'll actually throw it up as a tie between Blade and Goldie, because with so few people having shotguns and even fewer people having ammo for their shotguns, when I run Blade, I rack up 3-4 kills every time I pop my super, just because no one can kill me. So it's kind of funny that it got nerfed, but in an indirect way, it kind of got buffed. And I guess that also applies to the other roaming supers as well. But and Golden Guns has never been bad in sixes. And if you know how to play it a little bit more carefully, and maybe if you know the spawns, you can catch people with your super right off the spawn and you get behind enemy lines, it's going to be very good for you. For Warlock, I really prefer playing Voidwalker myself, but it's very frustrating to run into people that are good at Sunslinger and just abuse double stickies. And it makes me rage. And I've actually played a little bit of that this last weekend, and I was doing the same thing, and I felt disgusting. But it is effective. And Stormcaller is still Stormcaller, so nothing else needs to be said. It's really strong. But for Titan, I would definitely say the Striker is. I think Striker is actually the best subclass in any mode right now in Crucible, simply for the fact that it's so hard to defend against shoulder charge. And it's not because shoulder charge is OP. I don't think, in fact, I wish that they would unnerf that delay they made to it. It's just, you don't spawn and have like a shotgun to stop them right away, which was kind of the previous deterrent. And then also the fact that, say that you're running a hand cannon or something, you have to do a very slight bit of damage, and then your storm grip is going to basically one shot them. And it's a great combo. And I've seen people use that to devastating effect lately. And of course, if you're any good at skating, you're just getting around the map so fast. So
Yeah, it's so nice to be fast right now in this game. Like, it is so nice to just like it. I try to play a lot of all the classes, but when I go from Titan to Warlock, I'm like, like I strained my leg or
Too
something
fast.
like that.
it's,
I'm like,
it's painful. It's
so
like,
I gotta go
God.
Titan to my Hunter and then to my Warlock and like split those off between days, because sometimes the transition is just like too slow.
I run into quite a few people. I see them in like Crucible leveling up Titans, and it's like, yep, they understand. They probably had like 3 Hunters or like 2 Warlocks and a Hunter or something. They just like, okay, I got to get with the times here, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's never too late to finally get that third subclass you've been ignoring.
Exactly.
Last time I watched you in a tournament, you were running Voidwalker. How do you feel about that subclass, despite Storm being always dependable?
Well, I think Voidwalker was always pretty strong in a certain sense. Like, it was never OP. I never thought it was like underpowered, but it was just kind of overshadowed by other classes at various points. But ever since they retooled it, I think that was the last April update. I think they went in and gave it a bunch of like different reworked abilities and stuff, made it slightly stronger. It's been very reliable. It's very straightforward. You have a shutdown super, which can have some distance in certain situations, or if you're going to use the lance, you can just snipe people. But for some reason, I always feel like I play better on Voidwalker. It's a little bit more comfortable to me, and it's just kind of like a workhorse of the subclasses, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. That energy drain can just be like getting a kill with a grenade and having a grenade a second later. You just feel like just like a lucky guy.
Yeah, if you're running the lifesteal, that can usually save your life if you're like in a melee battle with someone.
Yeah.
But actually, if you run Surge, especially in threes, that can allow you to make some just crazy plays, because it gives you I think 15 seconds of like just max agility, max handling and everything. That's kind of, you can go crazy there.
Yeah, it's such an underrated perk, and I am totally guilty of not using Surge, even though I play a lot of Voidwalker. But it's tough to not just want the immediate health back. Maybe I should
just put the ram on, and then you can have both.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I need to stop like getting so weak when I'm fighting, and maybe dodge a few more bullets, and that'd be okay.
Well, I was going to ask. I mean, what is your go-to exotic these days?
Armor or weapon?
Armor.
Armor. Okay, let's see. I'll be honest, I've deleted so many armors in recent months because I ran out of vault space and there's things I wanted to hold on to. So it's like, all right, well, I can get
always
these
get it
exotics
back
at any time, so I just delete all these. So I mean, I'm trying to think. I've used the Peregrine Greaves on my Titan just because I just love the shoulder charge being quick, and then just it's so satisfying to take people out of their supers. Like it's trolling, but it is the most satisfying trolling. On Hunter, let's see, it's hard to argue against Bones. I use Bones a lot, and I'll tell you what I have been using is on Blade Dancer. I'm using Mask of the Third Man again, because that little bit of super energy, especially now, really allows you to rack up like an extra kill most of the time. And I found that really helpful. But let's see. I'm run like the Ram on Warlocks. Again, like it's mostly just because it's the only things I haven't deleted at this point. I did go buy like an Aclophage, and I ran some 6s and then Goldie with that. That was kind of fun. Every once in a while, you get that fourth guy. It's like, we're back in the beta.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
So Triple, we asked our Patreon supporters if they had any good questions for you, and we have one here from Smiley Jersey. He wanted to know, since we're starting to hit our Destiny lull before Destiny 2, I'm sure there'll be plenty of hype, for Destiny 2 coming up. But what Destiny and non-Destiny gameplay do you recommend to keep improving and developing your skills?
Okay.
Especially, you get extra points for PC stuff too.
Right. And so that's something that I've talked a lot about with people in Rec Nation and then even in IM, because everyone is anticipating that unless something, crazy happens, Destiny will probably have a huge following on PC. It may even become the main platform. And with that in mind, people, especially people who are not used to playing on PC, don't have a background of playing on PC. Some guys in my clan have been playing a lot of Overwatch and even playing some Titanfall too, because those two games are pretty fast and they have a lot of movement. There's a lot of verticality. And so I think those are two really important things for Destiny type gameplay, because I think they share a lot of similarities.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're like thinking in that direction, I think those would be two good things to try. And then of course, have a decent mouse and a decent mouse pad, because like the greatest player in the world is not going to get by with a trackball on his desk. I promise you, not at a high level.
I'm
I've
sure
tried.
there's one guy out there you can find his stream, trackball guy.
I think I saw, and it might have been an Overwatch player who was playing with one of those ball mouses, like the mice that don't move but have the ball on it, like where your thumb goes. I don't even know what those are called because I haven't seen them in so long, but they were actually doing pretty well, and it was mind blowing. But I wouldn't recommend that. Although I guess in some ways it's like kind of like a thumbstick on a controller. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a new thing. Maybe the Scuff will come out with a ball mouse.
There's that Overwatch guy who's always like, I played Reinhardt with an inflatable hammer and or I played Winston with some Donkey Kong jungle drums from the Wii. And I'm like, how do we even plug in an inflatable hammer?
I don't know. I believe it though. I mean, after seeing people like raiding with the Rock Band setups,
seriously.
Anything's possible. But I guess to answer the rest of the question, I guess if you're trying to stay sharp in Destiny, I prefer threes. I really like Rumble. I think Rumble is probably at this point my favorite mode, just because maybe
it's
for
back
me
this week too.
Yeah, maybe for me specifically, because I feel like the matchmaking can be really rough. And then just as like a streamer, you get stream sniped a lot, and just like in a team setting, it can be very frustrating. But like in Rumble, it's kind of like everyone's out there for themselves, and even if people are stream sniping you, it's like you kind of just it just doesn't seem as much of an issue to me. So plus, I like Rumble as a mode. I think it's a way that you don't have to rely on other people, and you kind of focus on your own skills, your own movement. And that mixed with threes, I think is a good way to stay sharp in terms of PvP.
Well, let me ask. I mean, we got the rotation going now. What do you think about Rumble Supremacy? I mean, do you play it? Do you change your play style there?
I played it a little bit. I gotta admit, I'm not a fan. I don't mind Supremacy in like the other modes, but in Rumble, to me, it's already making what is essentially or let's say a mode that has a lot of randomness in it already, just even more so. Sir Demetrius had like uploaded some gameplay or something. I think he dropped like 40 kills or something, and he still lost. And that
Gotta
to
pick
me
up
is
the
like,
crest,
I know,
Guardian.
but it's like, you go in and you trade with an enemy, and so you both die, and then some guy just runs in, picks up both your crests for the win. It's just
He's
like
crouching, waiting.
Or you get that like smart play where you're like strategically watching an encounter and you make a double kill out of it because they both weakened each other.
You're trying
But then
to bait
some other
stuff.
guy runs over there and you're like, all right, okay, thanks.
So I think it can yield some just hilarious moments, but I guess if you're just instinctually the competitive type and like you're trying to win and you hate losing when it's out of your control, right? And I think that's what Supremacy can be at times. So it's not my favorite. I prefer like Vanilla Rumble, but it's still probably better.
Vanilla Rumble sounds like an ice cream flavor.
There you go. We get some.
That's the Destiny Ben and Jerry's.
You get some Destiny themed ice cream on the Bungie store. I would spend so much money on that.
Please, anyone commenting on this podcast, your Destiny themed ice cream. I would love to hear that. All right, Triple. So again, in the name of nostalgia, my final question for you is a bit of a four-parter, if you will.
Okay.
But if you had to pick a favorite memory, either in-game or community-wise, what's your favorite moment from year 1, year 2, and year 3? And as a bonus, what's the most non-PvP thing you look forward to in Destiny 2?
Okay. Well, it's going to be hard for me to remember specifically, like in terms of when
Year
these
2 is
things
just a
happen.
blur.
It was like half a decade ago.
It's like, year 1 was great, and then everything since then just been me dying inside. No, I would say that a very special memory for me was doing Vault of Glass for the very first time back. It was like the week after Destiny released, because
I remember those 10 hours fondly.
I had been so like just underwhelmed by the story. I'm just like, what happened? Like, these guys made Halo. Like, they just made Halo Reach. Like, that campaign was incredible.
Yes.
And then well, what is this? Like, this feels like it was put together in like 2 hours. Like, no offense, but that's just, again, you come from something, and so you have certain expectations, right? And then I was just like, I love the PvP, but I wanted to enjoy the PvE, but it just wasn't there for me. But then the raid came out, and that was everything I hoped it would be and more. And having not ever played a raid in any game before, I never played World of Warcraft or anything like that. It was just such a unique experience, and I loved how brutally difficult it was for us. It was a challenge, and for the most part, all the raids at launch have been that, and so that has been something I've enjoyed as much as anything in Destiny. But so I'd have to throw in also, like, when Crota first came out, or I think, well, we did we finished second for Crota hard mode. That was also just like, we had no expectations from that. We were just like, we're all friends, and we like raiding, and says, all right, let's do it. And then we got in super clean for the most part there, and so that was really fun. Getting to go to the Trials reveal stream, of course, that's uniquely special. And
I want more streams like that, to be honest. Like, I love the reveals lately of like get to look at the new stuff, but like that one was just watching. Yeah. Like watching the Super Bowl. Not
even being there, of course. Like, I was like everyone for the other reveals, and I just thought that was tremendous. And I really hope that they do more of that in the future.
Yeah,
for sure. And I don't know, kind of lost count, but I got to throw in the Guardian Con charity, or I guess the Destiny Con charity from last year, and just being part of that was very special.
Definitely.
And then
that was the quest for the IS Luna, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. No, I literally got an IS Luna like a day before that.
Oh yeah.
So that was fun, but the community was kind, and they allowed me to keep it, and we still made lots of money for charity for kids. So it was a win-win. That's why it was such a good day. But okay, and so
they're a benevolent group of people.
We were teetering on the edge. It was going back and forth, and my emotions were on a roller coaster there. But as for the last question, what is the non-PvP thing that I'm looking forward to in Destiny 2? I don't know if there's just one thing, but I've really appreciated how much the PvE side has improved over the course of Destiny. And I really hope, and it seems that way because they've dropped hints in the few things that they've said about Destiny 2, but they've mentioned the story a bunch of times. So I'm really excited for them to draw upon all this great lore and all this great backstory that exists in the Grimoire and all the parts that are not the forefront, and they're able to deliver a narrative that really does the game justice, because I think it deserves it. I have no doubts the raids are going to be great. Strikes are going to be great, in whatever capacity that they wind up existing. And I do hope that they finally have some kind of horde / firefight mode, whatever it is, just something wave based that doesn't end.
Yeah.
I just, it's like, I feel like they've almost held off. They're like, this is too good. We can't give it to them now. I think we got to make them wait. We got to tease them with the Prison of Elders, Challenge of Elders, Archon's Forge, everything. And then when it's like when you think The Last Guardian is never going to come out, and then boom, there it is. Yep. So we'll see.
So hype.
Yes. All right, man, dude. Once again, thank you for coming on the show. We made it almost through 3 years of Destiny, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and hey, next time you're on the show, let's have an entirely new game to talk about.
That would be great. Or at least, something concrete. Examine some gameplay or talk about some reveals. That's one of the things that I would frustrated.
Beta?
Oh yeah, of course. That was something I was so frustrated before, in the time after Taken King came out, right? And there's this big long stretch where nobody knew what was happening, and maybe Bungie themselves didn't know what was happening because, of course, a lot of things I'm sure went on behind the scenes and what their roadmap was. But the simple truth was the community was really lost at that point, and I think having something to look forward to is very important, something that to look ahead towards, and not having that kind of made things very, very strained and fairly toxic. But, again, I don't know, like they may have been making decisions at that point, right? It's rumored that Destiny 2 was supposed to come out instead of Rise of Iron, and that maybe that's why they weren't able to talk about anything. Because, of course, they knew people were clamoring to hear information about what was coming next. I don't think they were oblivious to that. But part of me was just like, tease something, right? Anything, just an image. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It just be some writing, a quote, anything.
Yeah,
just
poster, maybe.
Get something out there for people to talk about, to take the focus off of like, we're really upset about X, Y, and Z, because that often happens. But I think it's great because I didn't actually expect Destiny 2 to get announced at least until May. I thought they would come out. Probably the safe bet was like a announcement right before E3, and then E3 they show stuff. But I was pleasantly surprised to see them get it out there and get the hype train started, because what's smart about Bungie is they typically wait to announce things. And then the good part of that is that they're able to maintain hype up until release, because it's usually like a shorter window. It's not like 2 or 3 years in advance, like some games out there, Division, BioShock Infinite, whatever. And then a lot of times that hype tends to die down, regardless of if the game itself is any worse or whatever. That's just how people are. It's hard to keep people excited for one thing for that long, but this way it's just going to be, starting on the 18th. I think it's going to be nonstop, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already bought my ticket for that train.
The conductor.
Now, how can we stretch a minute-long trailer into a hour-and-a-half long podcast?
Oh, I'm sure.
Everything about the game.
We'll figure something out. We'll be okay.
I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, 37 things you missed in the Destiny 2 trailer.
Boom. Millions of views.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to that next conversation, and thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And we'll see you at GuardianCon, right?
That's right. See you then.
Well, if you don't know where Triple Rec is, what are you doing? Get it together.
Everyone knows who Triple Rec is. Everyone knows where to find him, but let's pretend some people don't.
Where can they find you on the internet?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Triple Rec, YouTube at Triple Rec, and
he's got a small Etsy shop where he sells hand woven.
He's got a
give me ideas here.
A Destiny ice cream startup that will be a pop up in Seattle in a weekend in May
with Vanilla Rumble. Man, yes. I'm gonna go get some ice cream right now, I swear. But then of course on Twitch also Triple Rec.
There you have it, folks.
Hear that, everyone? That's consistency with branding.
That's right. I mean, in terms of actual broadcast consistency, not so much, but at least I got the brand. So it's
Well, at least you know where to, like-
That's right. You know where to go, like wait or like watch the past broadcast or something.
Yeah.
Patiently talk to other people in your chat
right.
that just lurk.
It's true. They're in there somewhere.
Thank you again, Triple. Have a
Thanks,
good one.
man. Till next time.
You too.
Fighting flames with fire, hang on to burning wires. We don't care anymore.
Bones is broken. Birds has no face. I'm the only one left.
Or is
Everyone.
the pod, were you talking about?
Yeah.
just-
I just want to like
Bones,
turn
you'll
you
be okay,
off
man.
and turn you back on
I
again.
was-
Usually that fixes
A lot
things.
of talking to, well, the podcast is like just so much voice. There's so much voice.
Swain, get us out of here, man.
There's so much voice in the.
Going to pieces.
Please, everyone, check us out. CrucibleRadio.com. You want some merch? You want some old episodes? Some classics? You want to look at some maps? They're all there. There's that and more. CrucibleRadio.com. I love y'all. See you next week. I promise Bones will be back.
Hello and welcome to the
normal.
show for all the podcast stuff about the PvP. Hello, you did it.
Andrew, just fade him out. Just fade him down.
This is all we know. Never face each other. One bed, different covers. We don't care anymore.
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.